Standing by with Sandy Alderson, and you spoke a moment ago about the decision to reunite with Jay Bruce. When you did make the deal and sent him to Cleveland, Sandy, how realistic was it in your mind that this reunion would come to fruition?
I wouldn't say that I felt it was unrealistic, but you never know where things are going to go in the free agent marketplace. And so it wasn't really clear to me what Jay's expectations were. Obviously, we were looking to put a team together as well. And so we just had to kind of watch and wait. And as things went on, we got more comfortable with where Jay might end up contractually, and we made the deal. But when he left here, we thought it was a possibility because I think he enjoyed his time in New York. But one never knows.
You mentioned versatility. How big a part did that play in bringing him back here?
I think it played a part. I think it played a part in two ways. First of all, the fact that he has played more than one position. He's not limited to right field. He could play first base for us, so I think that in and of itself is valuable. But I think his willingness to explore the possibility at first base, as he did last year, was important to us. Not in the sense of what he did on the field, but just in terms of his willingness to help the team.
The marketplace right now is about as log-jammed as I can remember 3 weeks before pitchers and catchers in a long time. And I would think you've got more work to do. How does that change things for you? Not just the free agents that are still available out there, but you've got teams like Pittsburgh and Miami that are looking to make wholesale changes. How does that change what you're trying to do?
Well, everything pivots off the free agent market. The trade value of players is largely, at this point, largely a function of the value of free agents. So if the value of or the cost of free agents is coming down, then the cost of veteran players in trade is affected as well. So I think this is the culmination of 2 or 3 years of movement in this direction. If you go back to 2016, even 2015, the offseason, we signed Cespedes late in the offseason. We just, we tried to be patient, tried to see where things were going. So some opportunities arose late in the offseason. Mm-hmm. Now those opportunities are multiplied, and I think it's just the culmination of a trend and maybe sort of a reevaluation on the part of clubs about the value of free agency.
Does it validate to you the way you've gone about your business?
Well, look, the only thing that validates one's approach in my business is winning and losing on the field. Yeah. No, I don't take any sense of validation from it, but I think this is the culmination of a trend that's been going on in the industry for 2 or 3 years.
Let's hit a few specifics. We know there's been a lot of talk about another infielder, whether it be a third baseman or a second baseman. Would you prefer, if you have your druthers, for that player to come via free agency or the trade market?
What I would prefer it to be a free agent. One, you don't have to give up anything in trade, but that's obviously a function of financial cost as well. So, but my preference at this point would be to would be able to do it through free agency. Now, we have players. We can make trades. I mean, there's been some talk about how weak our system is. Our system isn't as strong as it has been in the past. There's no question about that. But we definitely have players who are attractive at other teams and could make trades. Right now, we don't really want to.
Dominic Smith has been somebody who's been well discussed, and you've been one to say, listen, you've got to show us what you can do. Now, Michael Conforto went to camp last year and showed you what he could do. It sort of willed his way onto this roster. How much of what Dom's future is going to be in the short term is going to be based on what he does this spring, because many reports out there that you're bringing in Adrian Gonzalez pending a physical. So where does that all play in Dom's immediate future?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, what he does on the field is going to be very important, and his spring training will be interesting to watch. But it's also the way he carries himself as a professional player. So, in spring training, we'll be looking at two things. We'll be looking at how he does on the field and how he does off the field. Now, if we were to bring in someone like Adrian Gonzalez or Jay Bruce, who can play first base, or Wilmer Flores, who plays first base, or what have you, do those hedge our bets a little bit? Yeah, I think justifiably. But we still have a very high regard for Dom, and I'm really excited to see what happens in spring training.
Would you prefer for him to begin the season as your everyday first baseman, all things considered?
Well, I would love for him to have a great spring, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Let's finish on this. Michael Conforto, I mentioned him a moment ago. A lot of reports are he's not going to be ready for opening day. Fill us in on where his progress is, Sandy.
Yeah, I think he's making good progress, but the bottom line is I don't think he'll be ready for opening day. I think we hope that he'll be ready around May 1. Mm-hmm. It's an unusual injury, and so we have to be careful, and he's been very careful and I think diligent, but I just don't expect that he'll be back before 1st of May.